electronic meeting in accordance with Virginia Freedom of Information Act for the purpose of addressing matters related to the response to the state of emergency and the governor's announcement that all public schools remain closed for the rest of the 1920 academic year. And of course, we still remain under a state of emergency. That's why we continue to operate electronically moving forward. This meeting can be seen via Zoom and will be streamed live through the CATEC High School YouTube channel. And now we can go to the agenda. I'm looking for adoption of the agenda. We need to make a change to the agenda, Ms. Carter? Or has that already been done?
Change the agenda from our pre-agenda meeting to add fund balance transfer, but the agenda as presented is correct.
Fantastic, thank you.
I move we adopt the agenda.
Second.
We have moved by Dr. Akoff and second by Ms. Puryear. All those in favor, Ms. Chisholm will go ahead and do roll call.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Ms. McKeever,
Yes.
Ms. Osborne,
Yes.
Mr. Wade still not here?
No, he's here.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
Mr. Wade.
You didn't do Dr. Akoff?
Because she did the motion, I did, okay. Dr. Acuff
Yes.
and Mrs. Puryear.
Yes.
Great, thank you. The center board pack book contained our minutes from last time that we met. And now we're seeking approval of those minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes.
Oh, second.
Okay, Ms. Carlson moved the motion to approve the minutes and Dr. Akoff seconded the motion. And now we'll do the vote on the minutes.
Dr. Acuff,
Yes.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Ms. McKeever,
Yes.
Ms. Osborne,
Yes.
Mrs. Puryear,
Yes.
Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Okay. Was anybody signed up to speak, Ms. Chisholm?
No, Mrs. McKeever, they were not.
Great. So the next item is the approval of financial status. Ms. Carter.
So in your board book, you have our very standard run-of-the-mill financials for April, March, and April, I believe. And they're all very run-of-the-mill. There's nothing there that I think anybody could be concerned about. Bills are paid and that sort of thing. I do have we did tighten down spending, so some of our bills are obviously less, and we did not spend quite as much money as to be expected during this COVID closure. But all of the financials are on the up and up, and all the bills are paid. I do have an end of the year expenditure report if there are no questions about the financials for March and April.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, moving on to the expenditure report, Ms. Carter.
So the expenditure report, this end of the year, it's an unusual year, as we all know. It's been a very strange end of the year. And so some of these things look a little different than we would typically expect. One of the biggest changes, of course, is that we lost about $101,000 of anticipated revenue because of the closure and because of changes in adult ed and how that impacted some of our revenue.
I'm sorry, Stephanie, how much did you say? 101?
Yes.
Okay.
Of what we anticipated.
Right.
Projected. And so just like all the other schools, we really tightened down spending. We didn't spend money we had anticipated spending, and really put a freeze on trying to spend money. We did take on some projects that we wanted to get done. And so we have spent some of that funding. We're ending the year with I realize this picture on the screen is not very good, but if you look in your packet, you will see our net income loss is $166,956. And so that was because we were very fiscally conservative during the closure. As we move forward, we are planning, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but we had anticipated moving $125,000 into our fund balance and had used that in our budget for next year. And I have a plan for that remaining funding that I will go over with you, and I request with your approval the fund balance transfer. Are there questions about the end of year spending? Or not spending, but the revenue report? Okay.
No.
Can we move on to the fund balance transfer, Ms. McKeever?
Or, do you need approval of this, or do you want to wait until
Oh.
with the fund balance of transfer? Do you want to do all of those together?
I think they need to be separate, Mrs. McKeever. They're two separate agenda items.
Okay, great. So I'm looking for a motion now on the financial status that we just reviewed.
I move for approval.
Second.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, Ms. Chisholm will go ahead and get a roll call for the vote.
Dr. Acuff,
Yes.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Ms. McKeever,
Yes.
Ms. Osborne,
Yes.
Mrs. Puryear,
Yes.
Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Carter.
As mentioned, also in your board book, which is probably a better place to view it than on my screen, there is a 2021 requested fund balance transfer. And while I guess the best practice is to only request once a year the fund balance transfer, I think we all agree that this year is a lot different. And some of the things that the COVID closure impacted our ability to begin and end some projects that were needed, order some teacher supplies that were needed, and we've also come up with some additional expenses that we weren't anticipating because of the COVID closure. So I am requesting, as I mentioned in our financials, we are ending the year with a surplus of $166,956. And
You mean deficit?
No,
You mean
we
surplus?
we would be moving into the fund balance $166,956.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. In our approved budget, we are anticipating using $125,000 of our fund balance when we went back and did a revised budget after the closure. And so we know that money is earmarked for CATEC programming. I am asking that the remaining funding be used, as you can see on your sheet, $13,000 we'd like to have earmarked for furniture that may be needed. We are revamping our ISAP room into a college and career corner. We have our new school counselor and our career development specialist. They will have a space that students go to access resources for jobs and go to seek support, the support as they need it. So we're anticipating that project being a maximum of $13,000, but that furniture would also include any other updates or additional furniture that we may need throughout the year. We're also asking that $4,189 be put aside for teacher supplies, things that they may need that they typically would have ordered with the end of the year money that they had saved that they were not able to access because of the COVID closures. We are asking that $9,000 of that funding be put toward a commercial lawnmower. Our lawnmower is kaput. That is a very technical term. It is dead on arrival and we really need to have it replaced. So we're asking that $9,000 be used for that. And we are asking that the rest of the money, $15,767, be earmarked for COVID-related expenditures that we were not anticipating. So plexiglass shields, any kind of personal protective gear that our staff may need, disinfecting supplies, and also any kind of online resources that our teachers may need so that they can meet the requirements for the online component of learning. And so that is a very detailed description of how we are requesting to spend the fund balance for the 2021 at the end of 1920 school year.
Okay, what questions do people have about this fund balance transfer?
How did you arrive at the number for the COVID instructional building needs?
We arrived at it because it was what was remaining, and we felt that really not having a very solid idea of what all is going to be needed and entailed, we felt comfortable to say that the remaining funding would be put toward that goal. So it, Ms. Clausen, was not a very scientific approach to that number.
Yeah, I guess I'm just curious if it's going to be more than that. So
it could be more than that. We certainly have a facilities budget line that we feel like is hefty. We have a cleaning supply line that we feel like is hefty. We've pre-ordered some things that we currently have already in stock and waiting. It could be more than that. And that is why I'm asking the board to have some grace if I have to come back and ask for additional fund balance money. I'm really, really hoping that's not going to be the case, but it's very early in the year to be asking to spend fund balance money.
my other question, sorry for these minor questions, but for landscaping and mowing, how has that worked in the past? Y'all don't have an agreement or something with Albemarle for them to come mow, or?
No, we don't. Our maintenance supervisor, he mows the grass. And so we've always mowed to my knowledge, we've always maintained our own ground. Our custodial staff also does all of the weeding, weed eating, mulch laying, all of those kinds of initiatives we do in-house.
Really interesting. I hadn't realized that, and I wonder if there might not be some efficiencies that could be gained by but I mean, I guess if you keep one custodian on, I guess if it's working, it's working. But that is very interesting that you guys have to keep your own mower and maintain your own
Right.
spot when we have a lot of schools we're taking care of in Albemarle.
And I know from my time working in the city, I know the city does that as well. I think in the past we've investigated it, and I don't think that it was something that either entity wanted to take on. It absolutely, we have looked at. We've done a financial analysis of looking at hiring it out with an independent contractor.
Stephanie, we
As
lost
well
you.
as having it contracted with the city or the out was, oh,
Go ahead.
okay. I'm sorry, I'm talking too fast.
Yeah.
We have in the past researched and investigated with the county and the city, as well as with an independent contractor. And the independent contractor was not fiscally not financially responsible for us. And the city and the county, when we looked at it, we're not interested in taking it on and adding it to their workload.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask any of the other board members who've been around longer if this has just always been the case? Because it's surprising to me as well that CATEC is responsible for its own landscaping. Like, when there are probably commercial mowers in storage in the public works warehouses of our respective communities, that we wouldn't have to purchase a $9,000 one and we could use that for, say, plexiglass. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I've been on the board off and on for the past 7 years. And
Yeah.
we've never, I guess, I don't know what the useful life of a lawnmower is, but it has not come up. It hasn't popped up. It never occurred to me one way or the other, but it certainly is a noticeable figure on this budget.
Same here. I've been on and off for the last 15 years, and if it did come, I just don't ever recall us making a vote on it. So either they get them and it lasts a long time, or you're just
Yeah.
being, a lot more open to what we approve. So I would say if we can see if we, it sounds like you've already looked into it, but if it can be an agreement and with the city or the county, if not, then I would support it. It's not
Yeah.
$10,000. It's a lot, but it's an overall of our budget. It's not that much.
Do we know what the use?
The
Do we know
lawnmower
what the
must
use
have
of
a very long shelf life because I've been on the CATEC board since I was elected, and we've never talked about lawnmower replacement. So whatever one you're replacing, you've had it for a minute.
We have. It's
So
10 years
it's
old.
got, it's got a
It's 10 years old.
25-year life expectancy. It's lasted its 25 years.
It does not, we've also, of course, looked at the cost of repairing it and the cost of just replacing it. And we certainly would repair it if we felt like that made financial sense. The cost of this most recent repair does not, in my opinion, it's not fiscally responsible for us to continue to put money in it. We put money in it the last 2 years. And again, this year, now we're looking at about a $1,500 repair.
Yeah.
But it just keeps adding up.
Remind me, Stacy, what do we have? 13 acres, or how many acres do we have? I mean, it's a big parcel to maintain.
It is a big parcel to maintain. I don't know that exact number. I could certainly find out and let you know. I do know when I spoke with Greg, he said that this lawnmower is also no longer able to get up the hill that's down there kind of by, I don't know if you guys are aware of the CATEC's landscape, but there's a big hill that goes down near the trail and it's not
Yeah.
coming back up. He had to leave, he had abandoned it the last time. So yeah, it's no longer making it.
It sounds like you've done your due diligence in terms of repair, cost, alternatives with commercial vendors, and I would support this.
Thank you.
Although the timing of it stinks, but
I know
nonetheless.
it does.
Okay, so any other questions on the fund balance transfer? Okay, I'll take any motions.
I
move
move
we-
that we accept the fund balance request made by Stephanie Carter.
Second.
Great. Ms. Chisholm, we can go ahead and vote.
Dr. Acuff,
Yes.
No, she's frozen.
Am I frozen?
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Ms. McKeever,
Yes.
Ms. Osborne,
Yes.
Mrs. Puryear,
Yes.
Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Thank you again, Stephanie, for all that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you,
time and
guys.
effort. The next thing on the agenda are bank signatures, which requires board approval.
Bank signatures are, we're asking the board to approve the director, the assistant principal, and the finance and budget analysis to have signature authority on Wells Fargo Bank and SunTrust Bank accounts.
Any questions? Okay, motions?
So moved.
Second? Okay, Ms. Chisholm, go ahead.
Dr. Acuff,
Yes.
Ms. Carlson,
You're muted, Ms. Carlson.
This bar is not working. Yes.
Ms. McKeever,
Yes.
Ms. Osborne,
Yes.
Mr. Puryear, Mrs. Puryear, forgive me,
It's fine. Yes.
Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Juan and I joined at the hip, so
Yeah.
you know, brother from another mother. We joined at the hip. It's okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna go to Ms. Carter's comments.
I wanted to take a go. I joined the team at CATEC, and it's been a wonderful, exciting it's just been a crazy year in general, but even in all of that craziness, my time at CATEC has been really exciting and something that has just been a joy. So I was thinking about the request at the beginning of the year to do a 90-day entry plan, and I thought it would. As a teacher, I always think we should bookend. If we started the year with a 90-day entry, I would like the opportunity to just to circle back and tell you all how we did and spend some time talking about and reflecting on how the year went. So I went back and can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the purpose of this review is for me to bookend the director's 90-day entry plan with a report on the 2019-20 school year. And then my other goal for this is to inform the center board and the division superintendents on CATEC initiatives for the 2019-20 school year. And when I met with you guys, I guess in August of last year, I presented 3 main objectives. And when I'm reflecting back on this now, I think about how much I thought I knew and how little I actually really did know. But when I went back and looked at this, I don't think I was that far off. So we had my first objective was community engagement and trying to connect with the CATEC stakeholders. So not only the community at large, but the CATEC staff and students. We had the objective of creating an action plan and identifying areas of strength and growth for CATEC, and then implementing that plan to ensure the continued progress and advancement of the CATEC strategic plan. We were present at many things. We had a lot of community engagement, I feel like, this year. It's fun. It's fun to get out there and represent CATEC. And so our community engagement, we had several events. You guys were all at our joint board meeting where we invited business partners. We partnered with Daphne and ACPS to do a job fair. We featured business partnerships on our website with highlight stories. We hosted an international night, and we hosted our regional Skills USA competition. We were present in multiple events. We were present at Love the Court. We were present at Albemarle County 275. At Buford Fall Festival. We went to every curriculum night, as well as freshman seminars, and our food bus was at the toy lift. We had some important initiatives around community engagement. We deployed our Be Professional School Expectation using a VTSS system model. We hired a full-time school secretary, which you guys supported me in, and I'm so thankful because it was such an important community engagement tool to have somebody owning the front desk and taking responsibility. And Ms. Grooms has done an exceptional job. We launched a new website, and the website has an app. So I know I've promoted that to you all, but that felt like a really big, important step forward for us to connect with our base schools and our parents and our students. We've created an intentional marketing plan, and I've assigned marketing duties to Amanda J., who's our career development specialist, and she's done an amazing job with making sure our social media is active. Our website is up to date with highlights and news stories, and we've been very intentional about marketing. We took down pictures of people that were not students in the building, replaced them with pictures of our students actively engaged in CATEC. And as I mentioned, we are installing a career and counseling corner that will be manned by our career development specialist and our school counselor, as well as a kind of a landing pad for our students to be engaged in our community and learn about jobs and how we can keep them engaged and active. Action plan, we wrote an action plan along with Megan Panic. She helped us, our instructional leadership team. The action plan was created with an overall goal to reduce barriers to access. I think it became pretty clear to me quickly that there are a lot of barriers in the way of students coming to CATEC. So we sat down and we created an action plan with one major overall goal, and there's 7 associated objectives for reducing those barriers. And those include scheduling and academic offerings and our program of studies, program offerings that we addressed as well as making sure that we're having a focus on diversity and making sure that we are having a safe, emotionally, physically safe space for our students. We instituted 2 action teams. One is our instructional leadership team. They meet during the school year weekly to make sure that we're keeping an eye on this action plan. And we have our student support team that supports our students. If they need extra help, so we're connecting with base schools. Base schools and CATEC, it really sometimes can create a chasm. And I think it's really important for us to keep a very tight eye on our kids that could slip into those cracks. Because when they're here half a day and there half a day, it's really, really easy to kind of lose track. So we want to make sure that we are doing our part to keep students on the radar and supporting them to be successful. I feel like I've worked hard to create connections. I joined a cohort with other regional technical center directors, which has been really helpful, especially in my freshman year. And then I'm a very active member of the Region 5 CTE group, and that includes other regional technical centers in our direct area, but it also includes CTE coordinators and administrators throughout the Region 5 division, throughout Region 5. We spent a lot of time making sure to look at our budget, review it, and address areas of need. I think we really have looked at our budget with a critical eye and made some hard decisions, but necessary decisions. And I do think that those things have paid off in the end. We've revamped the program of studies. Totally, you guys saw that kind of morphing along the way. The offerings were not necessarily revamped, but the look of it, the feel of it, to make sure that we're promoting CATEC. And we launched an enrollment dashboard. So now all of our school counselors can go on anytime, see where they are with enrollment, who's enrolled, and they can enroll their students. In the past, when I came, there were spreadsheets and emails, and it was there was no attached system. So we've created now a system for enrollment, which I think also helped address some barriers. The last part of my 90-day entry plan was implementation. Creating and executing systems, as I mentioned. I think for me, one of the biggest areas that we needed to address when I came to CATEC was a lack of systems. I will always use the Virginia tiered systems of support because I believe in using that tiered systems of support to create smaller systems within the school to address students' needs. We instituted the CATEC Students Are Professional expectation, which is aligned with a PBIS model. As I mentioned, we created a dashboard and we have a periodic review of our action plan and the instructional leadership team. I mentioned as well that we already had a review and restructure of our program of studies, and we realigned the budget for future needs of CATEC. So that is how we approached the objectives that I saw at the beginning. I think right now the future of CATEC looks really bright, and I'm really excited to share with you all our enrollment numbers for 2020-21 school year. Right now we only have 3 programs with any available seats, and one of those is the EMP program at Western. Last year on May 23rd, we had 90 open seats at CATEC. Today on June 15th, we have only 3 programs with any seats, and 16 of the open seats are in culinary arts too, which that was really difficult to fill. So you can see here, we have a few open seats in auto body. We have a waiting list for auto service technician. We have a waiting list for building trades. Our cosmetology program is very full, both with auto tech and with cosmetology. Our teachers have been very gracious and willing to try to work to build their program. So what we're doing is in auto service tech, he's taking a group of 4 students that were on the waiting list for auto service 1, and he's taking them in the afternoon with his auto service 2 class, so that those students still can access the program. And so that's why we're able to fill up the afternoon. And the same thing with cosmetology. They are letting us work together so that COS 1 can come and take some of those COS 2 seats that did not get full. Culinary arts 2 has the most open seats. Culinary arts 1 is open. Culinary arts 2 I mean, Culinary Arts 1 is full. Culinary Arts 2 has 16 open seats. That's actually down to 15 now. I had one enrollment in between the time I made this. And electricity, we have a waiting list of 3. Our emergency medical technician is full at CATEC in the afternoon, and we have 3 open seats at Western in the morning. Fire science, we have 3 open seats. Our nurse assistant program is very, very full. All 40 seats are taken, and we have a waiting list of 7. And our veterinary science program is full with a waiting list of 1. I think that one of the reasons that our enrollment is what it is because we've been able to step back and look at the academic offerings. And you can see by the number of economics and personal finance requests, to have 54 students request that academic offering. I think that opened up quite a number that reduced the barrier for some of our students that couldn't come because they had scheduling conflicts at their base school. We have 142 overall requests for academic program enrollment at CATEC, and that's in conjunction, obviously, with their trade class. So I think that's a good thing, and I think it shows that there was a need for the academic offerings that we made, and that you guys supported in our program of study. I had a few other board requests that I wanted to follow up on. Do you guys have any questions for me about the bookending the 90-day plan or enrollment before I move on to the board requests that I wanted to respond to?
Stephanie, my apologies if you don't know this off the top of your head. What's the capacity of the building?
The capacity of the building technically is 347 students. And so the problem, what I'm understanding now after having gone through this my first year, is that because we have year 2 students in the classes in the afternoon, I can tell you that the capacity is 347, and it is, but that's assuming full 100% re-enrollment into year 2. So I think it'd be really difficult to ever really truly fill every seat at CATEC. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And just so you know where I'm coming from, it's in relation to that report we got. I can't remember where it was, but it was like 2 years ago where the state kind of audited, and what we got dinged on was that we just weren't serving as many students as we really could be serving. I guess I just kind of want clarity on how close we are to getting to the goal of filling as putting as many students there as possible.
I would say that considering that we closed 2 programs this year, and that we only have 3 programs with any seats, and one with the one where we have the most significant is the year 2 class. I think it's pretty remarkable. I don't know how much more capacity we could be taking. And I'm proud of our teachers for saying, no, I'm willing, like, give me year 1 with year 2, we'll figure it out. And they're being really thoughtful about ways to do that. Are there any other questions?
This is not exactly an enrollment question. How are you working with both city and county in terms of options for the fall, the next school year?
Well, I addressed that a little bit. That's further down, but I will follow whatever schedule the county actually lands on. I'm really, really hopeful that the city and the county come up with a similar plan so that we can serve all of our kids.
Right.
And so, I will follow whatever schedule. I definitely have a plan once kids come here, and I will go over that with you guys a little bit later. In the same presentation, I did add a few slides with that. Are there other questions? Okay. So I just wanted to, at our pre-agenda meeting, the board asked me to talk about adult education and apprenticeship programs. Probably one of our biggest concerns when we went into this COVID closure was our adult education program and apprenticeship program. We worked so hard this year to really make gains. We've made some really hard decisions and move things forward in ways that we felt like we were primed to really do amazing things. Unfortunately, there was a closure. And so, so that impacted us. So I wanted to spend some time to talk to you guys about the structure of the adult program, what we've done this year, and our drive to continue to provide innovative, high quality instruction to adult seeking training, and then our goal to create a financially independent adult education and apprenticeship program. So curricular planning, we've been working this year. Shannon Tomlin has come on as the interim program manager, and she's done an amazing job. We've worked really hard to figure out how to leverage online instruction. So moving into this closure, all of our apprentices went online. So there wasn't an apprentice that was enrolled with us that did not get to finish their class. We had a minimal amount of our adult education students that didn't finish. The students that didn't finish were auto body and auto tech, and they just couldn't do what they needed to do online, and that for adult ed. We are prepared for a flipped model to provide both face-to-face and online instruction moving into the fall. And we are prepared to do all online instruction for apprenticeships again next year if that's what we need to do in order to keep that program floating and alive. We're going to continue to evaluate the curricula for all of the program. We're working with employers to determine the best curriculum, what they need for their students to learn, and what they need for their students, what credentials and qualifications they need for their students to have. Shannon created a whole course catalog, and we are adding certification classes through UGOT class, CPR, and SaveSurf will all be offered. All certification classes offered online. And those things are very important for us as we look at a fall where we may not be able, where we may have to have very small classes, or we may, where we have small classes, or we may not be able to have as much face-to-face instruction as we want. We are advertising and seeking the best teachers, and we, I think as you all are pretty well aware, we have restructured the administrative positions as well as administrative support position to be a part-time position. Our adult student support, we think that's an important component of making sure that our adult students that come continue to be successful. We've entered into an MOU with adult literacy volunteers, and we are providing also a distance learning lab for our adult students that during the closure or that need some additional support may be able to come to CATEC, access us, and have a safe place to work. We're structuring it with plexiglass and making sure that it's all cleaned and sanitized and a safe place for our students to visit and access as needed. Our financial structures, I think you guys are pretty aware that we've worked really hard this year analyzing the budget, lowering expenses to support revenue and increase revenue streams. This year, we started the year with what we thought was going to be a very big deficit. And we ended the year making, even after refunds, making about $6,000. And that was due to us really tightening down, really looking at and analyzing the expenses, and then also looking to see how many students need to be in a class for a class to be able to make. And so that we were not running classes where we were losing money. I'm really proud of it. I think that we were, again, primed to do some really good work and really move the program forward. And hopefully we still are. We also are currently researching and implementing and trying to establish an established financial software system. Right now we're using FileMaker. That's kind of a problem. And so we want to be able to address that so we can really keep up with where we are financially with this program. We also want to be able to take online payments. And I'm really proud and want to make sure to give Shannon Tomlin a huge shout out. She's worked really hard and got 2 new funding streams for us. One, she had all of our programs approved through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act for funding. So WIOA funds can be used for CATEC adult classes. And she also worked extremely hard, did a bunch of work to get approved for veterans benefits. So now a veteran can come and use their benefits to take an adult education class through CATEC. We're very proud of both of those things. So I think looking at the fall, just to kind of summarize, looking at the fall, we are leveraging online learning. We've got new funding streams. And those 2 things will really help us. And we're adding certifications and classes We feel like those things will really help us continue to sustain next year, even if we have to have smaller classes. Do you guys have questions for me about adult ed before I go on to the last topic, next two topics? Okay. You all asked in the last meeting about auditing, and I wanted to respond to your question. We talked to Jackson Zimmerman. Marlene helped me, and we spoke with Jackson Zimmerman, who said that we follow Albemarle County's guidelines, policies, and procedures. And so we do what they do. And he says that they review their audit contract and have open bids every 5 years. Which we will do as well. He said that Robinson Farmer Cox, or RFC, they do most of the governmental audits in the state. And since they have a large staff, they usually have different staff involved with each audit. And Marlene said that is the case for us as well, even though RFC typically does get the contract audit, it's almost always somebody different. She said she really can't even remember a time when it wasn't somebody different. And she said that Jackson said that we have had RFC bid each contract period, and their bids are exemplary. Their experience, knowledge of the specific field of public institutions is exceptional in Virginia. So although we have considered other firms via the bid process, no other firm has been able to offer similar service and expertise. He said he encourages open bids, but would not recommend excluding RFC purely due to their strong presence in Virginia and their specific experience in our field. I know there was a question. Does that respond to the question that you guys had about?
That, I think I raised the issue. Yes, I mean, I think if you don't switch firms, at least switching the personnel within the firm is good. And having a written policy of what we're doing, I think is important as well.
And it sounds like that we do. I don't know if it's policy, but it's procedure. For
Right.
sure.
Okay.
Okay. I just wanted to respond to that because you would ask, and maybe next year we'll remember when this comes up again. We'll have to remind each other. And so,
Stephanie, as long as it's somewhere, if it's not in your policy manual, but it is in your procedure manual, that means that there's a record of it, so that you can refer to it, whether it's the first time you've heard it or not. So,
okay.
Policy tracks procedure, sometimes procedure tracks policy, but you do know that it's somewhere, so you are following appropriate protocol.
We have a financial procedure manual, so I will follow up with Marlene and make sure that we include this piece in there if it's not already in there. I think that's a very good feedback. Thank you. The last topic, are there any other questions about the audit? The last topic I just wanted to kind of inform you guys about was the opening of school and where we are. A lot of it still feels pretty nebulous to me. The county and the city are working really hard to get feedback. There's no point in us getting feedback because schedule-wise, we're going to do what we do. I did want you all to know that I'm really thinking through how to do it safely and some of our thoughts. I actually think at CATEC we're pretty lucky because we're small in students, but our spaces are pretty big. We have lots of entrances into the building. There are many things that we can do to facilitate learning within our classes. So we will, as I said, follow Albemarle County's school schedule because we follow Albemarle County's policies and procedures. We will follow their schools and we follow their schedule. And we will also follow VDOE's guidelines for opening. We will procure disinfectant and other necessary protective equipment. You guys were thankfully have already approved some funding for that, so thank you for that. We will reduce hallway transitions. So our goal right now will be our teachers will be stationed and our students will come in along the back hall. They're outside entrances. They'll come in outside entrances. Almost every one of our programs, at the most 2 programs, would come through one single entrance in the building. We have, because we have so many different entrance and exit points, we can do that easily. We will designate bathrooms so that students are not all accessing the same bathroom. And lab spaces and classrooms will be marked out for social distancing. I met with the teachers yesterday and they are going to, when we come back to school, they are going to in their classrooms and mark off spaces for 6 feet of social distancing. They also are going to work with their students so that any tools that they use at the end of they will build in time every time so that their tools are disinfected. And when possible, all of our students will have their own set of tools. We will try not to share hand tools as much as possible. So you guys understand it's not feasible for us to all buy a skill saw for every student. So students are going to have to learn part of the process. The safety procedures will be to disinfect the tools after they use them. And so additional considerations will be, as I've already mentioned, the implementation of a distance learning lab. One of the things we want to be able to do is our students, if they're learning online at their base school and they need a place to land that has good Wi-Fi and resources, that we can offer that to them here. And we want to make sure that we are, as I said, able to offer individual toolkits and online resources. I'm thinking that we will probably do our best to do a virtual orientation. We'll offer it several times so that our students that can't come to open house, we can connect with them. We'll mail opening packets, and we'll do some things that way so that our students can still be ready to hit the ground running when we do start. So I know that's not the answer to all of the problems that are going to come up, but those are our initial thoughts, and we're going to continue to grow. And I did think it was important while I had you guys to kind of update you on that, because I won't see you again until after school starts. I hope school starts in August. So any questions about that?
What about masks?
Masks. So the state superintendent said that students will not be required to wear them. They can, and we should encourage them to. Our staff will be required to wear masks. On the front of our building now, there's a sign that Albemarle County brought by that says it's required to come in the building. We will offer masks or some kind of face covering. That will be part of the funding that we use so that our staff, make sure that our staff has access to a face covering.
So, Stephanie, some places are designating, like if a child is discovered at school that he or she might have a, I know it's hard for you with the space to have like a quarantine classroom or space or something like that. Did I hear you?
We do.
Okay.
So we have a nursing lab that's in the adult ed nursing lab that's not used during the day. It has beds in it. It's very isolated from other students in other classrooms. All of that was determined before we closed. I don't know if you guys remember, but in March, when there was all the talk about closing, we had to designate quarantine spaces.
Okay.
The superintendent did say it's going to be a requirement that there's health screening for staff and students. I don't know what that's going to look like, but we'll figure that out as we go along. But it does sound like there's going to be some expectation that we make sure people that come in the building are healthy.
In the city, we are, I guess, purchasing touchless thermometers to offer some sort of health screen.
Okay.
And I would work with Dr. Atkins or Dr. Haas about what these health screenings would look like. Also, I'm not sure that the state superintendent is an expert in this. And so I just don't know that I trust that he's going to be the one. I don't understand why he's the one who can decide whether masks are allowed in the building or not. I mean, students are required or not required. Like right now, you are required to wear a mask indoors. So that's kind of confusing to me, why the state superintendent has any say over whether students are required to have masks or not. So
Well, I think some of it, Jennifer, may be due on masks for people that have certain conditions, students with asthma and things of that, they have to have some type of medical whatever not to wear them, but people in general, I wouldn't understand. But Stephanie, are you eligible, like other school divisions, to get monies to help you with purchasing of PPEs or disinfectant, the little what are thermometers, those types of things?
I don't think that we are. I think that money would go to the base school divisions, and then we would be expected to access the resources through the base school divisions.
Okay.
I do know that Marlene has been in touch with someone in Albemarle County. I do not know who it is. And just trying to work with them around masks and plexiglass shields. It's not resolved yet though, so I don't have a whole answer on that, but she is working on it.
Any other questions about this? Okey doke. So, thank you, Stephanie. This is a very helpful
Well-
presentation.
Thank you. Those are all of my comments.
Okay. Great. Any other business by this board that we are, do you need anything from us about that, Stephanie?
No, I just wanted to kind of update everybody.
Perfect. Great. So other business, the board have? Okay. Great. Then I would love it if we could, maybe Ms. Carlson could help us get into closed session. But you are not,
You're
you're,
mute.
Sorry, when I pulled up the Word document, it got me off of this. I move that the CATEC Center Board go into a closed meeting as authorized by the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Section 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia, under subsection 1 for the purpose of discussing personnel issues.
Second,
okay. So I guess we need a vote for that, Ms. Chisholm. Okay, go ahead.
Dr. Acuff,
yes.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Ms. McKeever, Ms. Osborne,
Yes.
Mrs. Puryear,
Yes.
Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Okay, so we got to click the other link now, Ms. Chisholm?
Yes.
I need to go launch it. I'm going to go right now.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So am I in the right meeting?
Sent you in the calendar invite, and I also sent an email and go into the close. You have to go separately. So
Yeah, I think
you might have to exit from this one to go into that one.
okay.
Lisa, I'm going to sign off now too. I think they're going to come back out of closed meeting and be adjourned, correct?
Yes, yes.
I'm
So
gonna
thank
sign
you.
off. Thank you.
Appreciate your
Take care.
effort.
Bye.
Ms. Leslie, I just sent you a quick email if you could take a
looking at it
moment to
real quick.
check.
think we can do a motion to come out of closed session now, Ms. Coulson.
I don't think I have the certification language in front of me, but I think maybe I remember it. I move that we certify to the best of each board member's knowledge that only matters lawfully exempt from the Freedom of Information Act were discussed or heard during the closed session.
Wow, you're good. Are you an
Impressive.
attorney or something?
She's an attorney. She's an attorney. Every board needs one.
Okay, do I hear a second? I'll
Second.
second. Okay. Ms. Chisholm, we'll go for the vote.
Dr. Acuff,
You're
Sorry.
mute.
Yes.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Ms. McKeever,
Yes.
Ms. Osborne,
Yes.
Mrs. Puryear,
Yes.
Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Any action coming off of the closed session?
I move that we approve the personnel recommendations and made by Ms. Carter.
Second.
Okay, let's go ahead and talk, vote.
Dr. Acuff,
Yes.
Ms. Carlson,
Yes.
Ms. McKeever,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Mrs. Puryear,
Volume.
Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Okay. That appears to be all of the items on the agenda. So hearing no objection, we stand adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you
Everyone
guys
have a
so
great
much.
evening.
Thank
Bye,
you.
y'all.
Hey.
Hi, guys.
Bye.